Take one. This, without a doubt, is the most impactful CTA that we have ever done on this channel. We have got over 1,500 videos on this channel and growing by the day. But I can confidently say that every single person who has been on this channel is because of the person who we're about to have a conversation with. Excitement does not even begin to describe the way that I am feeling. Nervous, definitely, but the gravity of the conversation that we're about to have today is, it's out of this world. But before I get into the conversation, as usual, as promised, I always have to tell each and every single one of you thank you. I tell you thank you. Why? Because we are because of you. If you wouldn't be here sitting down watching these videos, we wouldn't be able to be doing this with the consistency and the frequency with which we are doing this. We are here back to back, having daily conversations. That is not easy. That is not a cheap venture to do. And therefore, I have to start by thanking each and every single one of you. I thank you, those of you who watch, those of you who share. I thank you, those of you who decide, let me go into my MPESA and throw a few coins this guy's way. Those coins help. Those coins curated, they go a long, long way in ensuring that we're able to do this. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Last but definitely not least, those of you who are constantly ordering merchandise. I say we've been delivering merchandise to Egypt, to Bahrain. We've delivered merchandise to London. There's merchandise all the way going to the States. There's merchandise going to South Africa. Anywhere where there's a DHL, a big thank you to you, because merchandise can come your way. And you're wondering what kind of merchandise? We've got, like today, I've got the Snoodies. It's nice and chilly and raining, but I'm warm like whoa. CTA Snoodies, black and white. We've got T-shirts in black and white. We've got, like you're seeing on the screen, we've got hoodies. Hoodies always have to be there in black and white. We've got cups and we've got mugs. So to each and every one of you who've got merchandise, just go into the comments and hit up the merchandise managers. His details are there, and have a conversation with him on WhatsApp, and guarantee you within 3 to 4 working days, depending on where you are in the world, the merchandise will get to you. And it is good quality. It's not just for supporting the channel. It is good, amazing quality. Last but definitely not least, we are down to 74%. I cannot believe that. That is no small feat. From 88% of people who are on this channel watching the content without subscribing, I can happily say we're down to 74% of the people who watch this channel who have not subscribed. I think your subscribers are going by over 9,000 subscribers every single month. That is no small feat. And I know we're going to get past the 100,000 before the end of December. So thank you. If you've not subscribed, as usual, I'm going to give you 5 seconds to subscribe. And then I'm going to stop talking and get into the real conversation. So here we go. 5 seconds. 4. And if you've subscribed, this is your time to pause the video and share within your WhatsApp groups. 3, 2, 1. Thank you for those of you who've watched this far without skipping. Let me clear my throat because this one I'm not ready. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another session of the Playhouse. This right here, by the way, this is my take 2. That's how nervous I am. I hardly ever do take 2s, but the way I've been fumbling because of the nervousness, Nabado, it's okay. Without a doubt, the person who is seated here today, hands down, the most impactful CTA that we have done. And as I said before, we have over 1,500 videos on the channel. The reason why I say this is not to flatter you and to overexcite you and hot air. Nope. I say it because every single person who has been on this platform, who has been in the media and entertainment film industry, is because these people were. When we're talking about foundation, this is the foundation. We've had some foundational conversations on this platform, and you begin to understand the impact that those who came before you had for you to stand on their shoulders. This is that person who has gone before you, who has timbered the ground so that by the time you're building on the 20th story, on the 20th floor, this is the person who did the work. Why? Let me give an example and say, let's talk about time duration. How long have they been in the industry? 50 years. 50. The only person in this room who is even close to 50 is that person who we're about to interview. The rest of us are nowhere close to 50. And I'm just talking about the years that they have been in the industry. None of us here, Aizo or myself, are even close to that age. Number 2, 50 years means that that is the age of Kenya. I mean, plus a bit more, but it means that they have performed for Kenyatta and Kenyatta's father and the president in between that, and the president that came after, who Kenyatta took for Mwai Kibaki. And without a doubt, even our current president, who is currently Ruto, I'm sure they're going to play legacy. And you may be wondering, yeah, they've been there for that long, but when was the last time they performed Richie? I just asked them that question, and they told me, no, our last performance was last Wednesday when the King came. In case you're wondering about lanes, the King came a couple of weeks ago, and on the roster of people to perform for him was none other than the individual and the group that he belongs to. So when it comes to albums, we're talking over 15 albums, countless singles. Sometimes there are songs that you hear people singing and you wonder where the genesis of it. You even think that this song has always been there for life, not knowing that one day somebody wrote it. A song like Jambo Bwana, you wonder where it came from. Yes, these are the people who wrote this song. When it comes to record sales, we're talking about silver, gold, platinum. They have achieved this from the various different singles that they've sold. The impact, the struggle, the information that they have about the transformation of the landscape, from radio, introduction of FM, from TV, being kicked out of TV, being allowed to perform on TV, one TV station, many TV stations. This guy has been there to see this all. When it comes to performing in different continents across the country, this guy has been there to see it all. And not just been there, been at the beginning. I promise you, this is such a pivotal conversation that is necessary, not just for you who is in the music and media entertainment industry. This is a pivotal conversation for any and every single person who calls themselves a Kenyan, for any and every single person who calls themselves an African. If you want to understand the evolution of us as a people, this is that foundational conversation. I am super excited. I was telling Wamai and Aizo and the guest himself today that this is one of those landmark transformational inter-conversations. They're not interviews that we have on CTA that we are having. We are so honored. And it is such a blessing for us to sit with the person who we are going to sit with. So this is not just a clap that I want you to do for the sake of clapping. This is a clap for honor. This is a clap for well done. This is a clap for thank you. This is a clap for Igwe. This is a clap for we are because you are. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, put your hands together for none other than John Katana of the Mushrooms. And because this we only do it once ever, we've got to do it again. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for John Katana. And just so that you understand, one final time, put your hands for none other than John Katana of the Mushrooms. Let me tell you, Mr. Katana, and I know you told me to call you Katana. I'll call you Katana after this, but at least let me. In fact, you are Sir Katana. I have knighted you, sir. It is such a pleasure to have you here. To be honest, the gravity of your presence, I don't think I understood it until my dad was like, "Hey, you're interviewing who? Man, I used to listen to that guy, Bana." And seeing my dad and seeing how he's groupie around you, I'm just like, what? It just shows the impact that you've had in different generations. The amount of work that you've done, the ability to even still be alive, articulate, and performing and telling this story, that's even a gift from God, to be honest. So, been asking you a couple of times to come, but as you said, God's timing is right. So welcome home. Thank you so much for this honor and privilege to just share your story with us. We do not take it for granted. We are extremely blessed. I didn't do your intro enough justice, but the story is yours to tell, and I will make sure I will milk as much of it so that we can understand the immense work that not just you, but you and the rest of the team have done to put in the foundation. Yours is not a mark. You guys haven't left a mark in this industry. You build the foundation that this industry is on. So thank you so much.
Asante sana. The honor and privilege is all mine. Being at CTA today, like you say, it's a privilege, and God's grace made this possible. So asante sana sana. You're doing a great job, your team and you, and we pray that you continue for posterity.
I love that word.
Yeah.
I love that word, posterity.
Yeah.
So here are the rules. The rules are, we start the story from the very beginning. If you want to stop, kuna grapes hapo, kuna maji. This is not an interview, any conversation.
Kabisa.
We want to know the juice. We want to know the details. Actually, we want to know the history. One of the things that I say about CTA is being watched now by a generation that is watching this when you're not here. CTA has been born and been watched by a generation that is watching this when I am not here. There are people who are watching this and I'm not here while they're watching this. There are people who are watching this and you're not here while they're watching this. There are people who are watching this that were not born while we are having this conversation. They were born post, what day is today? November 8th, 2023. People who are not born when we're having this conversation. So with that kind of understanding in mind, it is mind-blowing. So without a doubt, let's start this. And let's start this from the very beginning. And that is, when were you born?
For the first time, I'm revealing this. We don't do this on TV, but I'm so happy because it's a blessing from God. I was born on the 18th of October, 1958.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
Still going strong.
You are going strong and beyond. But then let me say this. I'm a timekeeper. I have to show. Wasani. This one is for you. I am a timekeeper. Richie as a person keeps time. And it's from the small stint that I spent in the UK that put timekeeping into me. Today I get a phone call. So I knew I was supposed to be here by 7:45 ready. I'm always, my guest arrives by 8. So I'm always ready. At 7, I get a phone call being told I'm here. That's how early our guest was. That has never happened to me before. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for understanding me, because that's the way I or them mushrooms work. We respect people's time. We have to keep time.
Oh,
yeah.
I say you're late if you're 15. If you arrive on time, you should always be to a place 15 minutes early. If you arrive to a venue on time, you've arrived on late.
Yeah.
At least calm down, thinking. Okay, now we can get in the story. So you're born when?
October 18th, 1958.
Where are you born?
Mombasa Island, at the coast of Kenya. Yeah.
And what at this time? What number are you in the family?
Number 5.
Number 5.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that environment that you're born into.
Well, the family was 7 siblings, 5 brothers, 2 sisters. I'm number 5. And we brought up by very loving parents. A politician come businessman dad, and a very innovative housewife mom.
I love it.
Yeah.
Which side of Mombasa, where exactly Mombasa are you born? Tell me a little bit about that environment. You know, I think Mombasa, and my mind can't even picture what Mombasa was in 1958. Number 2, my mind used to be locked to think South Coast is Mombasa, to only find out South Coast is not Mombasa. Yet, and South Coast is a place you played a big influence. But before we get there, tell me then about this Mombasa that was there in 1958.
We were born in Mombasa Island, like I said, brought up at Tudor Estate. but there was 2 Tudors. There was 3, in fact. There was Tudor 4, and then there was Little Tudor. We grew up in Tudor 4, the good part of the Tudors.
Yeah.
So that's where we grew up, and schooling, we went to St. Augustine's primary school, preparatory school, and then Buxton School, and then I moved on to Aga Khan Primary School, then on to Alidina Visram. So all our growing up and schooling, my growing up, was within the island.
Whoa.
But we originally came from Kaloleni, which is now known Kaloleni in Kilifi County.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so break me down a little more about the culture in 1958. 1964 is when we got independent. So we're not even independent at that time.
Yeah, not yet.
So tell me then about Mombasa that time. And then remember, hata saa hiyo ongea na yo Swahili ya Mombasa. You've got some Queen's British, right?
Yeah.
So just tell me, paint a better picture for me to understand your environment.
Okay, Mombasa was cosmopolitan a bit, not like now.
Yes, of course.
And of course, the main players within Mombasa were the Swahilis and the Mijikenda, and of course, back then, the British. So
there's a lot of British there at that time.
Yeah. Even the house that my dad bought, he bought from who was either the commissioner of Mombasa back then, you know. So that was the case. Even in school, St. Augustine's was almost half the Brits.
Okay.
You see, so that's where we grew up. Of course, we started off in Tudor, and then when he bought the house, we moved to Tudor 4.
Okay.
And it was a lovely place to grow up, you know. There was camaraderie all over the place, and we knew each other. Families knew each other, families visited each other. And like you were talking about culture, every Sunday we had these traditional dancers coming to an area called Kiziwi, where every Sunday from morning to evening they would be doing their jigs there, singing, dancing, and that influenced me a bit. Okay. I used to love go watch them doing the Mwanzeles, the Kiringongo and all that.
Yeah.
So
what is the Mwanzele?
Mwanzele is a genre. Is a Giriama genre or Mijikenda genre, like the main genre. And then there are several others. Mwanzele is a sing and call and answer kind of genre, where the lead singer just sings and then everybody joins in and sing. And the thing is, they used to buy these slippers, which they called ndala, and they wear them and they, you know, thump the ground to the beat. By the time they start singing in the morning, come evening, those souls are pusher. So that's the kind of environment we grew up in.
So you see, the problem of having my mind sort of colonized is when I think traditional dances, I'm not fully understanding the impact of who those people are, and I want to dig into that. So give me examples of the different tribes that are within the coasts, and are these people who would live who would come and dance and then go into their homes, or just explain?
No. These were mostly house helps from the neighborhood, house helps and laborers who used to do the lawns and cut grass here and there and all these things, or shopkeepers, working at shops. So this was like an entertainment day for them. Okay. Because they've been slogging it out through the week. Alafu ikifika Jumapili, just let your hair down, and watu wanajaa pale, kunauzwa mnazi, pombe ya mnazi wanakunwa, they mingle, just to let off steam. Okay. And they used, it was like going to church. They had it every Sunday.
So this is what you would also go and attend every Sunday?
Yeah, no, after church.
Okay, after church.
Lazima church. After church, then we just go, tunaingia mtaani, tunaenda kuangalia wakidance, wakicheza. So it had a very great impact on me. Little did I know that I had that music gene in me back then.
Let me understand more of your homestead. Tell me a little bit about your dad. I heard you say businessman come politician. Okay.
My dad was into politics before the independence. He was a member of the Legislative Council of Kenya, and then went on to become I can't remember the title, but to do with the affairs of the municipal council, you know. So he was deep into politics. His peers were like Paul Ngei, Ronald Ngala, because like the late Ronald Ngala used to come home, and many others, even the late president, Mzee Kenyatta. He's been to our hometown homestead once on his way from Kilifi, and he saw our dad just by the roadside waving and said, Harrison, wacha nisimame kidogo. So that's the kind of stuff we you know, tulikulia namna hiyo.
I love it. The president just decided stop it.
Now, many of the politicians used to come home back in the day. So that's why I say my dad was a politician come businessman.
Okay, so this air of change was already by the time you're being born. Of course, but maybe by the time you're 6 or something, the change has happened. Then let's enter into you and your siblings. How was that?
Well, we've had a good run, very good run, because we had a very, very disciplinarian mother. Hakuna mchezo. By fire, by stick, by anything, you had to love each other. And you had to, you know, be good to each other. That's the kind of mother we had. Our dad was easygoing. You could do a mistake and hapana, usifanye hivyo tena. But our mom, she made sure you toed the line. So she brought us together. Okay. We're still together to date, and it's all thank you to the Almighty and our mother.
Wow.
She put us together, and as we grew, maybe I can jump a few bridges. When we got into music, we were young, very young, and we would argue in the rehearsal. We used to rehearse at our servants' quarter. And one day we were arguing about a Louis Armstrong song, about the chord work, about the arrangement. And we argued so badly that we almost fought. And she just walked into the rehearsal room and switched off the power. Boop, and everything went silent. Said, if you want to be musicians, you have to respect each other. Go out and find people who are more experienced than you, each one of you. Learn your parts from them. And I want you here tomorrow at 4:30, because we used to rehearse after school. At 4:30, and you will play that song. And nobody is going to touch any instrument today here. That's the kind of mother we had.
Wow.
So back then, timing, you have to be home by 6. Ukichelewa, umekwisha. Go play your football after class, you know. Do your homework first, go play. But 6, you have to be there. 6:30, lazima umeoga, umko tayari for dinner at 7. That's the kind of routine we grew up in. And that's why I was here at that time.
it's still in the system.
It never goes away. But it's all thanks to her.
Yeah, I get it. I heard you talk about, when I told you Sunday you'd go, you're like, church first. So it sounded like the house was, you lived in a bit of a spiritual house.
Somehow, through my mom.
Through your mom.
Yeah.
So how was church like?
Church St. Luke's Makupa. That's where we went for, we fellowship there. And it was regular. And then when we went back to Kaloleni, it was St. John's, St. Luke's, I can't remember the names well. And every Sunday we were in church.
What music, singing songs?
No. By then, there was not history of praise and worship. It was Mothers Guild doing their thing. Unajua. But later on, ndio ikaanza praise. In fact, now you've mentioned this. You know, there's, at the Makupa roundabout in Mombasa, there's the Elimu Evangelist Church next to the petrol station. And we were the first band to play a full band in a church in Mombasa. And by evening, the elders were at our home telling our mom, watoto wameleta shetani kwenye bandi, kwenye kanisa and all these things. My mother was so bombarded, but she stood by us.
Nice.
She said, when God created them, he knew they were going to be musicians. So let them be. That's how tough she was.
Wow.
Even how some of our siblings said, sasa wamewachilia watoto washika mambo ya muziki, hii itawapeleka kombo.
She was
That's the kind of resistance we had.
Some of your siblings?
No, my mom's siblings.
Oh, some of her siblings.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then one of them saw the talent in us and he offered us a space to start rehearsing.
Nice.
You see, so back then it was taboo for young kids, 14, 15, to indulge in music. It was taboo. And to make matters worse, our second born sister was the bassist back then. So, hey, mtoto wameharibika, watoto wa mama Mandi wameharibika.
Okay, let's dive into school. Let me hear about now when you get freedom from mom and go to school.
Yeah. Like I said, St. Augustine's Preparatory School.
That's where you started.
Yeah.
Okay. And
I started at Tudor. There was a nursery school.
Okay. Yeah.
I started there, then moved to St. Augustine's.
It's
in just within the vicinity.
Okay.
And then when our dad was constructing a house back home, he moved us to a public school.
Oh, okay.
St. Augustine's was private. So all of us were moved to Buxton.
First of all, how long were you in St. Augustine's?
For 4 years.
And how was that? You're saying it was private, so it was mixed.
It was mixed, but mostly it was, I had to say whites, but that's what it was.
Whoa.
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
So, and by that you're talking about British?
Yeah. And the administrative go-ons and all the, they were into administration back then.
Okay, so give me an example of how that was then for you.
It was awesome because we got first class education, not because they were whites, because the system had not been tampered with so much like now. You get?
I get it.
So it was good for us. We got a good foundation, and we even got to know, to learn a few things and even impact our peers back then.
Okay.
Within the school setup. So it was good. Walimu walikuwa ni wazungu, walimu wachache sana wa Afrika. In fact, when we were shifting is when sasa walimu wa Kiafrika wakaanza kuja, but there were walimu wa kizungu, Goans, and kidogo hao wengine.
What are Goans? Sorry?
Goans, these are, let's say Indians, but they hate to be called Indians. Yeah. Goa is a province in India. So most of them came from that, area.
Okay.
Yeah.
From my understanding of Mombasa, was the entry point into Kenya.
Yeah.
For the British, people are not flying into Kenya that time. It was all by port, all by sea. So there was the Islams, the Indians who are coming, and the British.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And a lot of them.
But in seasons, huh?
In seasons.
In seasons.
Can you share a bit of the history from what you understand?
Post and pre-independence, the dominance was by the British, or probably, yeah. And then there was the Swahili prior to that.
What brought about the introduction of the Swahili?
The Swahili, they were being used by the British when Kenya was a British protectorate, I think. Mm-hmm. And they were like the rulers because Mombasa, Pemba and all, I hear, were being ruled by the Sultan of,
Yes.
So that was the setup then. And then the British came in with now democracy and all this, if you can call it democracy, and all this stuff they brought. And then things started changing, then the elections, when the independence came, I was a very
young boy.
Yes. But then slowly now, Africans, and that's when my dad and his peers started coming into the scene.
Okay.
You see, so Africans took over positions, and the council was like now the county, what we have today.
Okay.
The municipal council. So they were dotted all over the area, and the governance started changing, and also freedoms. You know, back then, there's some hotels you would go and utaona like I don't care about this. Oceanic Hotel in Mombasa was predominantly for the Wazungus.
Yes.
The Tudor House Hotel, a few steps from our home, was for Wazungus.
So when you go, like, can't enter.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's shocking to hear that, especially. So I love this because there's a generation that thinks they don't know the struggle and what that meant. But here is somebody who is alive who's telling us there's a time that I couldn't go to that hotel.
Yeah, it was much later that we even started performing there.
Whoa.
I remember the band that used to be there. What we used to do, there was a public beach just down there. So we would go down to the public beach and then come up the hill and listen to the band. They used to be called Connie Kids, I remember. And we loved it. We used to, by the beach, we were listening to the band up there. And you look at the revelers were only Wazungus. Sisi ilikuwa hatuwezi kuingia huko.
I'll come to the music. I just want to touch more before we talk about this public school you went to. So is there anything else that you feel like you loved about this? In this private school that you went to, did you learn instruments? Was that the introduction of music for you?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Much later. From there, I was moved to Buxton Primary School, which is now Ronald Ngala Primary School.
Which is called Buxton then.
Yeah. And I was there for 2 years, and then when mzee alimaliza kujenga, he took me to Aga Khan Primary School.
So Buxton, now was it a different demographic of people who are there?
Kabisa hapo ni sisi, ilikuwa ni sisi. Unajua?
Miros.
Sisi, and it was so nice because of course you feel you're amongst your people. Not that those guys were not people, but kulikuwa na hiyo bado walikuwa in their minds. We didn't have a problem. In their minds, they still looked at Africans as, what are you doing in a Mzungu school, you know? But at Buxton, it was wonderful, the best time. And then when I moved on to Aga Khan, it was the same, you know. There was plenty of us.
Okay.
And then the Asians, of course, the Ismailia community dominated.
Yes.
Yeah.
So why didn't you stay at Buxton? Why did you move then to Aga Khan?
I think it was my dad's decision because that time he was putting up a house.
Okay, in that kind of location.
No. He was putting up a house in our home village or hometown.
Okay.
Yeah, so he needed all the resources. And then when he finished, he moved all of us to the schools he really wanted us to, you know, attend.
I like it.
So I was moved back to Aga Khan, and that's where I set my certificate of primary education.
And these are CPE?
KCPE, but that was CPE, Certificate of Primary Education. And then after that, I passed very well. I got admitted to Alidina Visram High School.
Are you listening to music at that time?
I had.
Okay.
Towards the second half of that year at Aga Khan, before I had started indulging in music.
Okay.
The entire family. You see, because every time we were on holiday, we went back home. My elder brother, Teddy Kalanda Harrison, was so much into music, and he used to bring his friends. They borrow a guitar from there, and they used to rehearse. So I was there, a very tiny little one, just following through. And already the bug had bitten me. So I was into music, I would say. Born a musician, but that's the time when now it all came up.
Okay. And so your version of listening to music was listening to your brothers? No,
the radio and them. But that happened during the school holidays only. Throughout the term, we're in Mombasa, but always listening to the radio, going out to play, never allowed to go out to shows and all that, because we're very young.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you finished CPE. Let's continue then with that.
So I go to Aga Khan. This is in 1972.
Okay, rewind. Freedom. Can you remember? Can you remember Independence Day?
Yeah, but no. I was too.
You're too young.
Yeah, too young.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought maybe there's such a landmark moment.
Yeah. So I Form 1, I was in Alidina Visram.
Okay.
And already, like I said, we were doing these sessions every school holiday. And then in 1972, that year, our dad passed on in August.